I'm Amal Raj. So I'll be helping you with biology. Okay, portion in your science. We have started the class few weeks earlier. Just completed two of the processes like nutrition and respiration. Okay, just I'll give you a glance. Yes, come in. Okay, so what for nutrition? Yeah, yeah. Living organism has to work continuously, perform lot of processes. So they need food. So energy should be provided. Different type of nutrition like autotrophic, heterotrophic nutrition, and then how these nutrition are there in from unicellular organism to multicellular organisms. What are all the different modes of nutrition? Like plants, autotrophs, animals, heterotrophs. Even in heterotrophs, we have different types, right? Parasitic mode of nutrition, saprotrophic mode of nutrition, and then holozoic mode of nutrition. Okay, so different modes of nutrition we have, and then specifically humans. Okay, nutrition in human beings. We follow heterotrophic mode of nutrition, and so to understand that we should study about our digestive system, to get food, to process food, to distribute food, all these things by our digestive system. What are the components of our digestive system? The alimentary canal and associated glands. Alimentary canal starts with mouth, and then anus, ends with anus. In between you have tongue, teeth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. So every part will carry out its own function, right? And then enzymes. What you must know specifically is about the enzymes. What are all the enzymes? In saliva you have salivary amylase, and stomach pepsin, renin, and in small intestine mixture of enzymes like lipases, proteinases, carboxylases, hydrolases. Varieties of enzymes are present, which converts all complex substances into simple substances. And then from the small intestine, food is absorbed and it reaches the bloodstream and it is distributed to all part of the body, and every cell gets its food from the blood, and then the glucose, oxygen, whatever enters into the cell, cell utilizes it. Fine, good. And then we discussed about the respiration in plants, respiration in plants, respiration in animals, what occurs generally in photosynthesis, the gas exchange, what are all the substrates are used and products are formed. Okay, so those things we discussed. And then human respiration, the components of human respiration, how the air enters, what all the mechanism occurs, inspiration, expiration, okay, how the gas exchange occurs in the body. And this is what we discussed till now. So please go through your material. If you cannot understand anything, maybe tomorrow little early you can come, or any other day we will discuss. Yeah, okay. Okay, part 1, chapter 2. Now we'll start with the transportation and excretion. Okay, we'll start. Good evening, all of you. Okay, so let me again know your names. Fagat, Rohit, Hari, Anirudh. Anirudh, Vijayalakshmi. Okay, Vijayalakshmi, Anirudh, Hari, Rohit. Okay, all silly celebrities' names. Okay, good, fine. So, shall we start or we have to wait for anybody else? We'll start. Right, good. And today we'll start with this chapter, transportation. Okay. In the previous classes, we discussed about the nutrition and respiration. Through nutrition, we get food in simple form. It reaches the blood, and then also in respiration, how the gases from the atmosphere are taken and how it reaches the bloodstream. So this is what we discussed. And in today's class, how the blood uh, transports all the nutrients to each and every type of cell, and the circulation, basically the components of circulatory system, that is the process is circulation, blood circulation, and how it is done with the different organs. Okay, fine. Each and the role of every little components, their location, their types, all these things we are going to discuss. Okay, fine, good. So we have what type of circulatory system? In simple, there are two type of circulatory system in organisms, right? Multicellular organism will have two type of circulatory system. What are the two type of circulatory system? Open and closed, right? Open and closed. Open circulatory system means what? Closed circulatory system means what?
So closed means inside
Yeah.
open
Mm. We may think if the body is exposed, it is open, but heart is protected inside the body, it is closed. Not so actually. If the blood is circulated, if the blood, the nutrients, everything is circulated with a proper tubing system, you can say in simple. So, you have a heart in human beings, and then with lot of arteries, the blood is transported, means the blood vessels. Okay. What are the if the blood is transported through a tubing system, that is called what? Closed circulatory system. If the blood, like in insects, is just pumped all over the body without any vessels, then it is called what? Open. Okay. With all important components of a circulatory system, like a pumping organ should be there, a tubing system, we call it as vessels, blood vessels. Like that, if the blood is transported, it is closed circulatory system. If no proper blood vessels, just like that, how your cleaning mop works, it just gets the liquid, when you squeeze it, it releases, it absorbs, when you squeeze, it releases. So contraction, relaxation, simple contraction and relaxation gets the nutrient, mix it and distributes. That is closed, that is open circulatory system. In lower level vertebrates, we can see open circulatory system. In organism like us, human beings, we have closed circulatory system. Okay, open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. And there are different organisms, right? And they have different type of heart. Of course, when it comes to the closed circulatory system, what are the important components? In a closed circulatory system, humans have closed circulatory system. What are the components of a closed circulatory system? A pumping organ, heart, and then a network of tubes. Okay. What are the components of a closed circulatory system? There should be a pumping organ, we call it as heart, and then a network of tubes called vessels, heart and blood vessels. See, heart, pumping organ, heart, and blood vessels. Forms what? The components of closed circulatory system. Of course, what is pumped? Blood. Blood is pumped. So, another main important component is blood. Okay, blood is pumped through the heart and other blood vessels. Okay, components of closed circulatory system. Now, let us discuss about each and every one of these components. How can you define blood? It is a fluid connective tissue. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. Why it is called fluid connective tissue? It looks liquid, right? What is the difference between liquid and a fluid? Liquid is just a water, a solvent, no solute in it. Okay, a solvent but no solute in it. That's a liquid. In simple, a layman term actually. And then fluid is in a water you add little glucose, sugar, salt, which may get dissolved. That is called what? Fluid. So, in blood, if you look into the composition of blood, first it consists of plasma and formed elements, means cells. Plasma and cells. Okay, plasma and cells. Okay, blood consists of plasma and cells. What the plasma again consists of? Water plus molecules. Plasma consists of what? Water and molecules. Again, the molecules may be classified into what? Macro, micro. Macromolecules, bigger size molecules, and micro, smaller size molecules. What are macro size molecules? Proteins, carbohydrates. They are macromolecule. Micronutrients, what are they? Sodium, potassium. Okay, like proteins. Example, or macro. Ions like sodium, potassium. These ions are called what? Micronutrients. Sodium, potassium, calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphorus, sulfur. All these things are micronutrients. Okay, so all these molecules are present in blood. So plasma consists of these molecules. And what are called cells? What are the different type of cells we have? Yeah, different type of cells we have. We have erythrocytes, technically erythrocytes, leukocytes, and then thrombocytes. What are the three type of cells which present in blood? Erythrocytes, leukocytes, thrombocytes. Red blood cell, white blood cell, platelets. Common term: red blood cell, white blood cell, platelets. So, blood odor, plasmolar, these substances are present. Molecules are present, and cells. Cells are different type of cells: white blood cell, red blood cell, and platelets. Is it clear? This is the composition of blood. And then again, other nutrients like oxygen, carbon dioxide, good substances, even the waste substances are also present in blood, the gases. More than the ions, the gases are also present. Respiratory gases. They are called what? Respiratory gases. What are the important type of respiratory gases? Important type of respiratory gases. Oxygen and carbon dioxide. Oxygen and carbon dioxide are the important type of respiratory gases which is present in the blood. Okay, fine, good. Now, is it clear what is blood? Why it is called connective tissue? Blood fluid means, I said, plasma with molecules, hence it is called fluid. Why it is called connective tissue? Because flows all over the body, supplies food to every type of cell which is present in the body. Fluid, connective. Why we call it as tissue? Because lot of cells forms tissues. Okay, cells forms tissues. Red blood cell, white blood cells, platelets are there. Okay, so tissue. But in what way this tissue, blood tissue, is different from other type of tissues in the body? Move. Very good. In the sense, other type of tissue will contain the cells which are called what? Have you heard about this term? Anchorage dependent cells. Something are called what? Anchorage dependent cells. What are called anchorage dependent cells? Anchorage dependent cells. Anchorage independent cells. See, if the cell requires solid support for the growth and development, okay, cell requires solid support, for growth. They are called what? Anchorage dependent cells. No solid support required. Then they are called what? Anchorage independent cells. So only blood cells, okay, the tissue, we call it as these cells which are anchorage independent cells. Okay, just like that they can float. Like he said, he can float, he can easily travel. These cells can be easily transported in the blood. Okay, fine. So now you know what is blood, the composition of blood. Okay, fine. So what is the function of the cells of the blood in general? What red blood cell will do? Hemoglobin pigment, it is a carrier of oxygen and carbon dioxide. White blood cell gives us protection from the immune system, means foreign pathogen. Okay, foreign substances, if anything enters into the body, white blood cell are called soldiers. They protect us from the pathogens. Platelets, clotting of the blood. Okay, it helps in the clotting of the blood. Okay, platelets. Very good. So you know about the blood. And now we'll discuss about the pumping organ, heart. Okay, understanding the pumping organ, heart. Okay, heart is actually a muscular organ. Okay, how big it is? As big as our fist. And you close your palm fingers like this, and this is the size of your heart. Okay, where it is located? In the thoracic cavity, slightly tilted to the left side. Okay, in the thoracic cavity, slightly tilted to the left side. There it is located. What is the function of the heart? Pumping of blood. It is a pumping organ. So pumping of blood. to all part of the body. Because of that, the cell gets its required nutrients. Okay, it supplies food. Two functions of the pumping is food is supplied and waste is collected. Okay, what are the two important processes? Food is supplied, waste is collected. Oxygenated blood supplied, deoxygenated blood collected and sent for oxygenation. So, supply of food and collection of waste, supply of oxygenated blood and collection of deoxygenated blood. So, all are the function of what? The heart, because of its pumping nature. Right? Good. Now, look into the anatomy of the heart. Understanding the anatomy of the heart is very, very important. Okay? The components of the heart. Heart is surrounded by a double membrane. What is the name of the membrane? Heart is surrounded by a double membrane. What is the name of the membrane? Pericardium. Okay, what is pericardium? The double membrane which surrounds the heart, covers the heart. Pericardium. It consists of a fluid called what? Pericardial fluid. Okay, pericardium and then pericardial fluid. Fine. Now, how many sides of the heart? Sides first. Sides. Left side, right side and left side. Two sides of the heart. Correct? How many chambers are the heart? Okay, chambers 4. How a single heart is separated into 2 sides and 4 chambers. 2 sides and 4 chambers. How? A tissue called what? Septum. A tissue called what? Septum. Septum are nothing but separating walls. Septums are called what? Separating walls. There are 3 different type of septum. Okay, 3 types. What are they? Septum, interatrial septum or interauricular septum, which separates both of the atrium. Okay, interauricular septum. So, 2 atrium are separated. And then interventricular septum separates left right ventricles. And then atrioventricular septum separates atrium or auricle with the ventricle. Can you understand? How many type of separating walls are present? 3. Between the atria, interatrial septum. Between the ventricles, interventricular septum. Between the atrium and ventricles, we have atrioventricular septum. Is it clear? Fine. Now, how many valves are there? But anyway, of course, you know, if because of the separation valves, you get 4 chambers. Right auricle or right atrium or left atrium. Left ventricle and right ventricle. These are all the 4 chambers. Now, let us talk about the valves. Okay, valves. How many valves are present? Okay, how many valves are present? See, between the right atrium and right ventricle, okay, you have a valve. Right atrium and right ventricle. Here, you have a wall. I think you cannot see, just a minute. Okay, here you have a wall, and here left atrium and right ventricle you have a wall. Okay, they are actually called what? Tricuspid and bicuspid valves. Okay, cuspid valves, bi and tricuspid valves. Okay, and then here from ventricle, okay, here and here, again you have two valves. They are called what? Semi lunar valves. Just I just cuspid valve, semilunar valve. Is it clear? So the cuspid valves allows the blood to flow from atrium to ventricle. Okay, what is the function of cuspid valve? Allows the blood to flow from atrium to ventricle. So there is one in right atrium to right ventricle, and then left atrium to left ventricle. Semilunar valves allows the blood to pumped to from ventricles to outside. It differs in the sense, from right ventricle deoxygenated blood is pumped to lungs. From right ventricle, deoxygenated blood collected from the body is pumped to lungs. From there, semilunar valve is present, and then from left ventricle, oxygenated blood is pumped to rest of the body. There, one valve is present, semilunar valve. Can you understand? What are the four type of valves present in the heart? Cuspid valves between the atrium and ventricle. Semilunar valves from right atrium to lungs, left atrium to rest of the body. Semilunar valves. Is it clear? Fine. Now, let us discuss about entry and exit point of hearts. Okay, how blood enters and exits through the heart. Okay. Vena cava. See, you can see vena cava here and vena cava here. From lower part of the body, okay, from lower part of the body, the blood is collected and drained into right atrium through inferior vena cava. Okay, vena cava, inferior vena cava, lower part of the body, all deoxygenated blood is collected and drained into right atrium. Okay, upper portion of the body, heart male, all part of the body, blood, deoxygenated blood is collected and drained to right atrium through superior vena cava. What are the two type of vena cava? Superior, on top which is superior, on bottom it is inferior vena cava. Can you understand? Fine. So, inlet of the heart, right auricle is vena cava. Vena cava. Okay. What is the, and what type of blood enters? Deoxygenated blood. What type of blood enters? deoxygenated blood. That's why it is always represented as what? Blue in color. When you see any of the picture, you can see the blue color side. Even in this heart, can you see the blue color? Because that is deoxygenated blood only enters into the right side of the heart. Now, what is the entry of blood to the left side? Entry point of the blood. You can see pulmonary veins. Okay, pulmonary veins are the entry point. You can see the entry point. Blood enters to the left atrium through pulmonary vein. From where the pulmonary vein comes? Lungs. From lungs, pulmonary vein, and then to the left atrium. Can you understand? Now, how blood goes out from ventricles? Now, entry point we saw. What is the entry point of right atrium? Vena cava, inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. What is the entry point of blood to the left atrium? Pulmonary vein. Okay, keep the name pulmonary vein. Remember the term pulmonary vein. Now, exit point of the blood from the heart. See, from left atrium, the oxygenated blood comes ventricles, left ventricle, and then through semilunar valve. What is the exit point? Aorta. Okay, aorta is the exit point of blood from the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, blood reaches aorta. From the left ventricle, blood exits from the ventricle to aorta. Is it clear? From aorta, where it goes? From aorta, rest of the body. You can call it as ROB. ROB means rest of body. Okay, blood is pumped because it is oxygenated blood. You can see red color means orange here, just to differentiate. So, oxygenated blood, left side. Okay, can you understand? Fine. Here from right side, the deoxygenated blood, where it goes? Ventricle to, you can see the two exit point, where it goes? To the lungs. What is it actually? Pulmonary artery. You can see pulmonary artery. Through pulmonary artery, blood exits from the heart, from right ventricle to the lungs. Right ventricle to the lungs through pulmonary artery. Can you understand? To pulmonary artery. For what? Oxygenation. Oxygenated blood reaches lungs for oxygenation and it comes down to the heart. Is it clear? So, now the terms which we discussed, I'll be telling one by one. You should tell me what is it, what forward, and few more thing which I forgot to tell because it is anatomy. But on top, other things what we should know about is, we have two nodes. What are the nodes? It is SA node, SAN, and atrioventricular node. SAN present in the atria, AV node present between the atrium and ventricle, right side atrium and ventricle. There we can see SAN and AVN. SAN means sinoatrial node. SAN stands for what? Sinoatrial node. common name is, it is called the pacemaker. Sinoatrial node is called what? Pacemaker. Heart, for the functioning of the heart, the amount of current voltage it requires, that is produced by almost 70% of the current required for the functioning of the heart is produced by SA node. And then AV node gets the current from sinoatrial node and transfers the current voltage to ventricle through bundle of S fiber. Basically, if this is the right atrium, here you can see SA node and here you can see AV node, and here if this is a ventricle, you can see here we will be having a bundle of his fiber called also Purkinje fiber. Here you can see a network called what? Purkinje fiber. Okay, listen to me carefully. SA node is present on right side atrium, on top of the right side atrium, which produces current. It is also called SA node. The current diffuses through the atrium and makes the atrium to contract. That current is taken by the current is taken by the AV node, atrioventricular node, and this current is transferred to the ventricles with the help of bundle of his fiber. So you can see a bundle, one goes to the right ventricle, another goes to the left ventricle, and there you have Purkinje fiber, nerve fiber. You have nerve fiber. This nerve, through the nerve fibers only, the voltage required for the heart reaches. Okay, the voltage required for the heart reaches. That's why atrium contracts followed by ventricle contracts. Okay, atrium contracts and followed by ventricle contracts. Can you understand? So these are all the little components of heart. Okay, you should know pericardium, pericardial fluid, septum, types of septum: atrioventricular septum, interventricular septum, interatrial septum, right atrium, left atrium, or right auricle or left auricle, right ventricle, left ventricle, cuspid valves, semilunar valves, inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein, aorta, okay, lungs, rest of the body. So all these things which you should know. Is it clear? Anything you want to clarify at this point? Can you understand the components of the heart? Now, in simple, the other important facts which we should know about the heart. Okay? Compared to atrium and ventricle, which is bigger, which is smaller? Always in human heart, atrium are smaller, ventricles are bigger. Okay? And left side of the heart, deoxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood. Left side, oxygenated blood. Right side, deoxygenated blood. Okay? Fine. Now, what is called cardiac cycle? What is called cardiac cycle? The contraction, one cycle of contraction and relaxation of heart. Okay? Cardiac cycle is nothing but one cycle of contraction and relaxation. One set of contraction and relaxation. What is the technical term for contraction? Systole. Diastole. Relaxation is diastole. Okay? Systole and diastole. Technical terms of contraction and relaxation in a systole and then diastole, systole, diastole, or the contraction and relaxation process of the heart. Now, let's know how the pumping organ heart functions. Step by step process. Oxygen rich blood from lungs reaches left atrium. Okay, oxygen rich blood reaches left atrium. Okay, now in this time, same time actually deoxygenated blood from, if oxygenated blood reaches the left atrium, deoxygenated blood right atrium, same time. Can you understand? Deoxygenated blood right atrium la. Look at that, deoxygenated blood right atrium. That's the first step. Is it clear? Oxygenated blood from lungs to the left atrium, deoxygenated blood from rest of the body to right atrium. That's the first step. In this time, actually the atrium is in relaxed position. When it receives during that process time, it is in relaxed mode. That is called what? Diastole. Diastole. Atrium in relaxed state. Diastole. Okay. Next process, where the blood goes during this time, what is open? From the left atrium, blood goes to the left ventricle. From the right atrium, blood goes to the right ventricle. Can you understand? Left atrium to left ventricle, right atrium to right ventricle. That's the next process. Okay, right atrium to right ventricle. Now, to push the blood completely, what should contract? What should contract? Atrium should contract. Okay? To send the blood completely, which is there in the atrium, it should contract. That's why ventricle is filled. Okay? Ventricle is filled. Now, what is the next process? Ventricle should contract, right? So, ventricle contraction should occur. But before that, what should happen? Before ventricle should contract, cuspid valves must be closed. Okay? What valve must be closed? Cuspid valves must be closed. Then only ventricle contracts. Okay? Ventricle contracts. And then from right ventricle, blood goes to lungs for right ventricle, blood goes to lungs for oxygenation. From left ventricle, blood goes to all part of the body. Okay? From left ventricle, blood is pumped to all part of the body. From right ventricle, blood is pumped to lungs. Okay, fine. Now, after this process, what should occur? Before, means after contraction of the ventricle, what should occur? Semilunar valves must close. Okay, semilunar valve must close. So, closure of cuspid valves produces what sound? Lap sound. Closure of Semilunar valve causes dub sound. Okay, contraction, relaxation. So lub dub, when we listen to the heartbeat, it says lub dub. Lub is because of what? Closure of cuspid valves, bicuspid and tricuspid valves, to prevent what? Backflow. What is called backflow? Blood usually transferred from atrium to ventricle. If it is transferred from ventricle to atrium, it is backflow. If backflow occurs, we will die. Very life threatening. Backflow. Okay. So backflow is prevented by what? Closure of cuspid valves. Okay. Backflow is dangerous. Closure of cuspid valves. And then after ventricular contraction, what will close? Semilunar valves will close. After ventricular contraction, semilunar valve will close. That produces dub sound. Okay. So the dub sound, one heartbeat. Okay. Contraction and relaxation occurs. Now coming to the other statistical information. Per minute, how many times the heart beats? 72 beats per minute. Contraction, relaxation is one cycle. So 72 beats per minute. அப்போ ஒரு cycle 0.8 second. One cycle of heartbeat, cardiac cycle is 0.8 second. In that, atrial contraction 0.3 second, ventricular contraction 0.5 second. Can you understand? Is it clear? Basic facts about heartbeat. Now, the next thing is, we call our blood circulation as double circulation. The blood circulation in humans is called what? Double circulation. You can see how many times the blood enters into the heart? Twice. Right side la deoxygenated blood enters and goes out, and then left side la oxygenated blood comes and goes out. But anyway, no way both of the blood gets mixed in the heart. Okay, so one side for first, maybe once deoxygenated blood and then oxygenated blood. So that's why these two are actually called what? Double circulation. Can you understand? Or circulation is called what? Double circulation. Okay, and here they are talking about the other forms of heart. We have 4-chambered heart, but in other animals like amphibians, they have 3-chambered hearts. Yeah, except the crocodile, which has 4-chambered heart. Okay, fine. Though how the fishes will do the exchange of gas? Gills. Okay, and it is mixed in the body. Okay, fine. So double circulation we have from lungs to heart for circulation of oxygenated blood, and then both pulmonary and systemic circulation. From lungs, oxygenated blood comes to the heart, and heart pumps the oxygenated blood to the rest of the body, and rest of the body, deoxygenated blood comes and goes to the heart, means to the lungs for oxygenation. So systemic and pulmonary circulation. So double circulation we have. Now, like blood pressure is measured with the help of what? Sphygmomanometer. See how it works. you can see a mercury solution inside the instrument. Okay, the arterial pressure basically it measures. The contraction, see, ventricular systole means what? Ventricular contraction creates systolic pressure which is 120 mm Hg, means here you can see 120 mm Hg, the mercury is raised up to 120 millimeter in this sphygmomanometer, and the diastolic pressure because of ventricular diastole relaxation which is 80 mm Hg. Okay, so you can see 80, below 80. So this is the normal blood pressure. Systolic means ventricular systole and ventricular diastole. Systolic pressure and diastolic pressure. Okay, ventricular contraction and ventricular relaxation. Okay, the pressure is measured. So that's the normal thing. Okay, 120 bar, 80 mm Hg. Now, so apart from the pumping organ, what are the other important component of the circulatory system? We have blood vessels. Okay, and blood vessels again are classified into arteries, veins and capillaries. What are the three types of blood vessels? Arteries, veins and capillaries. Okay. So, arteries carry blood away from the heart to various organs of the body, and which is oxygenated blood. Arteries carry oxygenated blood from heart, left side of the heart, to all part of the body. Veins collect blood from different organs and bring it back to the heart. Okay, veins collect blood from different part of the body and drains it to the heart. Okay, arteries for oxygenated blood, veins for deoxygenated blood. Only one exception is there. What is pulmonary artery? Always artery for oxygenated blood, but pulmonary artery for deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs. What is pulmonary vein? From lungs to left atrium, pulmonary vein, oxygenated blood. Okay, exemptions are pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. Okay, fine. And next thing, what is the biggest artery? Aorta is the biggest artery. Arteries will have thick walls. Okay, thick walls. Always artery will have what? Thick walls, and veins will have thin walls. Okay, arteries will have thick walls, veins will have thin walls. And it gets narrowed. Artery, aorta, arteriole, and then capillaries. Final smallest thing is actually called what? Capillaries. Like that, veins, veinlets, and then vein, and then it drain into vena cava. Okay, is it clear? So artery and veins, that comparison you should know. Fine. What is the function of other cells? Basically we discussed. Blood cells function, you know that, right? What are platelets? What are called platelets? Clotting factor. Okay, when the blood is always circulated in the body, if any, because it requires the arteries and veins, if any injury occurs to the arteries and veins, blood flow occurs, blood drains to the tissues. or outside the body also. Okay, that time to prevent it, blood should get clotted. For that there is a clotting factor. Okay, clotting factors are there and platelet supports in the clotting factor. Basically in the blood there is a protein called what? Fibrinogen. Okay, what is the protein factor? Clotting factor which is present in the blood? Fibrinogen. This should be converted into fibrin. Fibrinogen is in inactive form. It should be converted into fibrin. This is called what? This process is cascade. Cascade means what? Series of process. If injury occurs, fibrinogen is converted into fibrin. So for this, platelets plays a crucial role, and then fibrin are attached with the platelets. Thus, leakage in the blood vessel is prevented. So blood clotting stops. Means blood clotting prevents leaking of blood. See, there are two types of clotting disorders called what? Hemophilia. Have you heard about this? This is hemophilia. See, in clotting there are series of steps. One factor called factor 8. If there is no factor 8 produced, it causes hemophilia A. If there is one factor called factor 9, if it is not present in the blood, genetic disorder, it is a hemophilia is a sex linked recessive disorder. Hemophilia is a sex linked. You get some questions related to this. That's right. Sex linked recessive. Mostly men will be affected because they have, and of course sex linked in the sense X linked recessive, X chromosome recessive. Only men will have one X chromosome, so they easily get this disorder if they have the defective gene. So factor 8 is missing, then they get hemophilia A. Factor 9 is missing, they get hemophilia B. Okay, so that is the importance of platelets, which helps in blood clotting. And then the other important body fluid is actually called what? Lymph. See, the blood is transported all over the body. When it reaches the tissue and the vessels are narrow, there blood is filtered. From the blood, large molecules, blood minus large macromolecules plus macro cells, blood cells, blood minus large molecule plus cells only enters into the tissue. That is called what? pH. Appo what is present in the lymph? Water and nutrients. Can you understand? Tissue will, this lymph or lymphatic fluid, this will have what? Only water and water soluble molecules, little small molecules. That is called what? Lymph. Also called tissue fluid. Through that only every nutrients of the body reaches the cell. Every gases, and also it collects the waste. It reaches the capillary and circulated. Okay. Anyway, so with this let me stop. Very important part actually we discussed today about transportation in human beings, and we focused much on the blood, the heart and the blood vessels. What is blood? What are all the components we saw, and their specific role. Like that heart, all important components of the heart we saw and their specific role. And then finally types of blood vessels. Okay, arteries and veins. You should know how to compare the types of and functions of arteries and vessels. Okay, little about, we discussed about the double circulation also. Okay, so please go through the text. Maybe in the next class, when you read, if anything is difficult to understand, you please ask me. Okay, we will discuss that. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you.